right, joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, Evan Cohen, Unsportsmanlike. You can hear it each morning here on Pirate Radio. Watch it as well. Evan, appreciate you joining us again. You talked to Jonathan last time around. Nice time to formally meet you, talk to you for the first time. But appreciate your time. How you doing today, man?
My pleasure, Cliff. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And Evan, first thing I want to ask you, we are Pirate Radio. We cover East Carolina. We cover the region, the state, and national sports. But also, I am a big Commanders fan. I'm a Atlanta Braves fan, and I try to be authentic. I think people enjoy that. Also, it can be a detriment because some people just want to hear the sunshine and rainbows, and it's not always that way. But um, I remember there was a night where the Braves won the NLCS over the Dodgers. The same night I had to host a post-game ECU football show, and I cared about the ECU game, obviously, but hell, I was ready to celebrate that and
Right.
talk about that more than ECU. I bring that up just because, as a Boston sports fan, how do you handle that as a national host? How much do you
Yeah.
incorporate what you love personally when some folks want to talk about what's going on across the country? How do you kind of handle that?
Well, I'm the weirdest sports fan known to man because I'm from New York. I live in New York. I am a Patriots fan. I am also somebody that grew up loving the NBA, but I hated the Knicks for whatever reason. I moved to South Florida in 2003. Prior to Dwayne Wade getting there, prior to Shaq, prior to LeBron, I became a huge Miami Heat fan. And I grew up a New York Mets fan, so I don't like the Braves. So and I went to University of Wisconsin. So my weirdness
That is
is
weird.
beyond comprehension. So I do what you do, which is there's no upside in not acknowledging it.
Right.
Like the idea of, yeah, I'm like what people call a front runner. I have no problem with people saying that in terms of the Heat and the Patriots have been to the finals and won it all, Super Bowl, whatever it is, a million times. Mets, certainly nobody's calling me a front runner on that. And my Wisconsin Badgers, nobody's calling me a front runner. But I think it's the easiest thing in the world now at this point in our careers. Just own it. You being a Commanders fan is the right way to go. You being a Braves fan, yes, and ECU, while that's all going on, I think we just got to own it. So a lot of times I will allow for my fandom to come through because I just think it's the honest way of doing it.
Yeah, no doubt. And look, this joke's been said about Washington over the years, off-season champions. Did the Mets win another off-season championship? You guys dominate
Yeah,
the off-season, I will say.
they do. And of course, this is typical Mets. So they get Soto a couple of years ago, right? Then Lindor before then. And then this offseason, everybody's all upset because they let guys walk, right? They let Pete Alonso go.
Yeah.
They let McNeil go. They let Nemo go. They let all these guys go. And I kept saying, I trust this regime. I trust David Stearns, the general manager, comes over from Milwaukee, from New York originally. Then they go out there and get all these guys this offseason, Bichette amongst others. But this is when you know it's the Mets. When you get to spring training, and we know now that Lindor is going to be out for a while, and a couple of the guys showed up to the Mets camp with a Yankees bag. Devin Williams
Oh.
used to be on the Yankees, and he shows up with the Yankees bag with all of his stuff. That's when you know it's the Mets. That's what I have felt forever. That's what you have felt forever. Well, really, pre-Jaden Daniels as the Commanders. But one thing, wasn't there that time where the whole building started flooding with like poop all throughout the stadium?
Yeah, that was beautiful FedEx Field at the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So that's what it is to be a Commanders fan or a Mets fan.
Yeah, no doubt. So what is the talking point coming off the Super Bowl? I asked this question this week, Evan, and I'll get your take on it. And we have biases here, but rank these quarterbacks on this day we're talking: Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. How do you rank them?
I think because of where we are in the moment, we go May, Caleb, Jaden.
Okay.
I also think a year ago it would have been Jaden, Caleb, May. I think as the season started, it would have been Jaden, May, Caleb. And so I think all three have been ranked 1, 2, and 3 over
Yeah.
different points of it. Would you agree with that? Like if you just take from when they were drafted and when they actually got to the place they got to now, Clip, if you think about that, I bet you at different moments we could have said each one of those three all ranked 1, 2, and 3 in different times.
100%. And I'm one of the more, and for good reason, glass half empty, football fans, Washington fans out there. Jaden Daniels had me believing we could legitimately win every game. And then we saw him get banged up and then leave, and here we are again. I'm hopeful that things can get back to the winning next year. But I also said that, when I brought that up, Evan, that, hey, maybe there's a chance that they're all three really good. And it was just a great draft class of quarterbacks, and they'll all have success in the NFL. I kind of brought that up because there is some following the Super Bowl, Drake May just about won the MVP. Now he stinks because the Seahawks dominated him, and I don't believe that to be true. But there is that talk out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what happened, and as you mentioned, I'm a Patriots fan. So Drake May all year was able to do the thing that I love the most from quarterbacks, which is whoever's open, throw them the ball. That may seem so simple to people listening on Pirate Radio right now, saying, "Yeah, of course, it's the quarterback's job." Well, you know as well as I do, there are many times where quarterback will get to the line of scrimmage and they'll make the decision, well, 88, I'm making up a number, is my number one receiver. I'm going to look at 88, and I'm going to make sure that 88 is going to get the ball. Drake May drops back. Who's open? Who's open? That guy's open. Now that Pop Douglas is open. Kayshon Boutte is open. Matt Collins is open. Hunter Henry, he just hits the open guy. In the Super Bowl, he was completely unable to do that because the pressure was there, and he was just a completely different player. He was playing more, frantic, nervous, however you want to say it. And Josh McDaniels, who I think is the best offensive coordinator of my lifetime, I think had one of the worst games he's ever had. There was nothing they did that was different than how they started, and they pummeled him. But, yeah, May looked bad in that game. I don't think anybody would say May is bad. He did help a team get to the year two. There's a lot of number two in there. Year two, number two in the MVP, number two overall in the NFL based on Super Bowl runner-up. That's a hell of a year.
Deuces are wild. Let's bring in Jarrett to the conversation because, hey, this time last year, you're fired up, Jarrett. New coach, Pete Carroll, new quarterback, Geno Smith. Everything's looking good for your Raiders. And then it wasn't. And I know you want to ask Evan about maybe the future of this Las Vegas team.
Yeah, Evan, I was telling Clip the other day while I was watching Clint Kubiak's introductory press conference that, like, man, I'm such a sucker because every year, every coach is like, this place is special, man, historic franchise. It's the silver and black who wouldn't want to coach here. And then I buy in every time. And I'm kind of being a little cautious with this Clint Kubiak hire. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think that what we saw from Kubiak is what we need to see with a team like the Raiders, but I don't know that they're going to be able to accept it. Okay, what in the world do I mean by that? What do I mean by that is this. I believe a team like the Raiders needs to be intentionally boring. I understand it's Vegas, and I understand it's flashy, but sometimes teams like the Raiders or the Cowboys need to realize in order to win football games, just keep it low profile. Clint Kubiak, religious guy, family in the sport forever with Gary Kubiak, his dad. He comes in there. He's going to get Mendoza as his quarterback. He's quiet. We've had, Courtney Cronin, who works with us at ESPN, has been a fill-in on the show for Chris Canty a couple of times, along with Michelle Smallman and I. And she said she covered Kubiak when he was with the Vikings as an assistant, when she covered the Vikings for ESPN. And she's like, never in a million years would I have told you that guy was going to be a head coach. And we said, why? She goes, it has nothing to do with football. It's just the way he carries himself. He's just calm and quiet. Look at what happened in Seattle. Mike McDonald. Unbelievably boring, their head coach. Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker. Unbelievably boring. I'm saying that complimentary. Like, I'm someone that loves the Tim Duncan method of just do your job. And just, if you want to be outspoken as an athlete, that's totally fine. I don't care. Whatever, use your platform. But sometimes in terms of winning for some organizations, the organization and the laundry in itself is going to speak for you. Just speak a little less. And I think that's what Kubiak has already started to do here. And I think he's been a little bit low key. And that's what you want if you're a Raiders fan right now.
Hey, Patriots won Super Bowls being pretty boring. Hell, the year they had Moss and Brady breaking records, they didn't win the Super Bowl. So boring.
Okay, good point. Now let's talk about that for a second. I'm glad you walked me into this. Randy Moss is an all-time great guy. Everyone that works with him loves him, right? I don't know him personally, even though he's at ESPN. I know I've been to charity events that he's at. He signs every autograph for every kid. So don't believe what some of the negative stuff is about Moss. Guy's wonderful from everything I gather.
Yeah.
Moss was the greatest receivers to ever play the sport. The year that New England had him, undefeated season that year, they didn't win the Super Bowl, right? They did not. When Brady had lesser receivers, we go back to what I said earlier, just hit the open man. Brady used to always win with lesser guys than more of the high profile guys. And I think it's a lot of the team quiet. And Moss wasn't loud when he was with New England. But you get my overall point. I think what you're saying is right. Like when you're saying the Patriots for 20 years, they were boring-ish on purpose. Do your job, Belichick style.
Evan Cohen joining us today on Pirate Radio Live. Evan, working alongside Chris Canty and being around other athletes. When we bring in guys, and I've done shows with former Pirates that went to the NFL, they have a perspective that I'll never understand, and I love picking their brain and them talking about it. And I have something that they never really thought about, like the spreads of games and just other things that maybe I could point out that they didn't think about. So let me ask you, I'm sure you get a lot from Chris Canty. Have you ever said something to him from your fan perspective that made him say, hey, I never looked at it that way as a player?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he's amazing with that. So I've worked with a lot of former athletes. I've never worked with somebody like him. He's unbelievable. He is as prepared. You and I are radio people. Like we do this. We're broadcast people. We study this medium to do this. This guy played 11 years in the NFL. He won a Super Bowl, and he studies the medium the way that we do. It's the craziest thing in the world. Like when you're around him, you realize, oh yeah, that's why he's in that seat. That's why he's on a national stage. But yeah, he certainly has appreciated that. But it's way more the other way. There are so many times where he'll say something, and I'll be like, wait, say that. I'll have my notebook, which I have right next to me right now as we're talking. And I'll be like, say that again, and I'll write it down. There's something, of course, I forgot it now, but like where it's like rush attempts plus first downs equals like, how many, some crazy thing where it's like, wait, that makes a lot of sense as to what the formula for victory is. Like and so many of those things. And I just sit back and I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I'll give you one. I'll give you one specific one. You earn the right to rush the passer. Never heard that before working with him. Have you ever heard that before?
I've not. No.
Okay, let me explain what that means. It's so obvious, but you don't think about it. You earn the right to rush the passer. When do you pass rush? When the opposition is passing. When are they normally passing? When they have more yards to go. If you stop them on first and second down, third down and 7 or beyond, you earn the right to rush the passer.
Yeah.
So he's saying you better play hard first and second down, stop the run, so you can pass rush on third down. Like little things like that, you're just like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, watching a game with former Pirate QB Holton Ahlers, he's doing the Tony Romo. He's saying what's about to happen before it happens. And it's cool, but part of me doesn't want to know. I'm like, Holton, I don't think I want to know this. I want to watch this as a fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if I get too close to it, I may not enjoy watching it as much.
Yeah, that's interesting because CC and Canty and I don't watch games together. We all of us intentionally go our separate ways in terms of the game. So, because our whole thing is we want to come in on Monday or whatever after every game and have our own notes about, like, we know, all right, we're talking about this game and these are the themes we're talking about, but I have no interest. I'm going to walk you through exactly what happens in the morning. I get in there, CC gets in there, Smalls gets in there. We all three say hello and we go to different places. Seriously, I have a little cubby, like office thing that I go to. CC goes in the studio. Michelle goes to a different area on a different floor, and we're all doing things separately. So the first time we're hearing each other's opinions is when the show starts.
Yeah, I like
we
that.
We all know what we're going to talk about, obviously, but we don't know the opinion part of it.
And I got this from Troy D, who was a co-owner here at Pirate Radio and host, and I produced his show, but he'd always say, save it for the air. And
yeah,
I say that to Jared and everybody constantly now when we start talking about a game or something, like, hey, save it. Let's save it for the show. Evan Cohen joining us. Evan, hey, we're excited here in North Carolina for our pro basketball team for the first time in forever. I mean, Charlotte has been one of the most irrelevant pro sports franchises, and you can speak to that too. And for years and years, so to have them winning games now, to have that arena excited, is fun. And they aren't even 500 yet, but they've won 9 out of 10, and it's got people jacked up for what could be and a postseason here in Charlotte, North Carolina. How about the Hornets? And would you agree that across the board they've been irrelevant amongst other teams?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, the relevancy is MJ, obviously, previously, but now the relevancy is this lineup and is this team and I mean, from Lonzo to Brandon Miller to Con Knipple to Moose doing things, Diabate now doing things, Bridges, obviously, I know he's suspended, but then going out there and getting Kobe White, Liam McNeely, I don't believe plays much, but was a first-round pick, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So I think that there's just a bunch of guys on this team and they're just playing an up-tempo, exciting brand of basketball, and they keep winning. And Charles Lee's done a tremendous job, obviously, with them. And I've been impressed. I've been a Kalkbrenner, the center, right? I mean, it's another one. I mean, it's unbelievable what they've done.
Speaking of boring, he is the most. He never makes an expression. He's the most bored basketball player, but he gets it done out there. Boring is good. We've learned
That's
today.
exactly right. And people love Knipple. I mean, they say he is going to be like the next big thing. Brandon Miller, when healthy, obviously, and LaMelo. Did I say Lonzo before? I hope not.
You did, yeah.
I meant to say LaMelo. I apologize, LaMelo. But the thing, and even Grant Williams off the bench is not the worst thing in the world. I think the thing that I like is LaMelo. LaMelo wasn't playing serious basketball for a while, and now I think he's playing serious basketball.
I was anti LaMelo. I admit that. Hell, I didn't want him to draft him just because of the LeVar effect, but I don't know what's going on with him. But I've never.
Yeah, but the LeVar effect. This is where we all got it twisted. LeVar Ball got it right. I mean, if you really think about it, he was hyping his children.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
I'm not gonna judge other people's parenting. I would say that my version of parenting doesn't look like his. His doesn't look like mine.
True.
But guess what? Would I sign up for my 2 kids to go pro in the profession that they dreamt of going pro in, whatever that profession is? And he's 3 for 3, he and his wife. LaMelo is a good basketball player who's set for life financially. Lonzo, when healthy, was a very good player. And LiAngelo, say what you want, has been a successful rapper. I mean, look, again, you may not want to parent like LeVar, but LeVar and his wife did it right relative to their kids reaching their dreams in life. And they also are happy kids.
3 for 3. You'll take
Seriously.
that in the lineup every day.
That's right.
Jared, any other Hornets questions for Evan?
My only question, because I'm a fan, it's exciting, but it's weird to see them in national media talks.
Right.
How weird is it from somebody on the outside, Evan?
Yeah, I have to be fair now. I wouldn't say they have catapulted their way into consistent national conversation. I'm not going to tell the fans of Pirate Radio that you're going to tune in 6 to 10 a.m. For Unsportsmanlike and hear consistent Charlotte Hornets talk. What I can tell you is they are not far away from being considered for consideration for consistent conversation, which is way closer than they've been in the last decade plus outside of anything MJ related.
We're receiving votes. We're not quite there yet, but we're receiving votes.
Well said. Well said.
So last time you were on with Jonathan, I think you mentioned, hey, if Jaquan McMillan makes a play, make sure you shout him out.
I mentioned it on the air. I mentioned Pirate Radio and Jonathan Elby. I mentioned him on the air. I did.
How about like the next day or whatever, he makes the play of the playoffs, or at least the most controversial
on our
play.
Show.
Yeah.
I did say it on our show.
That's awesome, man. By the way, was that an interception or a catch?
Well, what would you want it to be for the sake of – I'm not going to now go after him, so it's always going to be an interception, of course.
For Pirate Radio, I was hoping interception.
I'm a two-time guest on Pirate Radio, whatever you guys want me to do at this point.
Well, I bet on the Bills, so I was hoping it was a catch, honestly. But yeah, I'll take the pick for Jaquan. We'll take that.
There you go.
Evan, and you'll see this coming soon. So a couple more Pirates will be on the big stage. Gavin Williams for the Guardians and Trey Savage, who set the world on fire in the World Series last year. So baseball right around the corner. Anything? We got Daytona coming up. What else post Super Bowl is kind of on your radar here?
NBA for sure in terms of All-Star break in the second half of the season. Also the Combine. The Combine is going to be a huge thing. A lot of the moves leading into free agency happen around there. A lot of the rumors. This GM spoke to that GM. a lot of the trades that you hear about. A lot of people are speculating that because it's not the best draft nor best free agency, that people think it could be a lot of trades in the NFL this offseason, speculatively. So that's what I'm looking for. NFL is king, you know that. So the combine leading into the draft, ultimately free agency in between then, I should say, as well as, of course, the NBA playoffs coming up as well.
Evan bringing this energy, this will be like the equivalent of me doing an interview like this at 10 o'clock tonight or whatever. So for you to do your 4 hours and to come on with us and do this is awesome, man. That's why you are where you are. So unsportsmanlike, check it out on Pirate Radio in the mornings. Anything else you want to plug, Evan? Anything else you got going on?
Listen to Pirate Radio. They've been good to me. They're good to the fans out there. Jonathan, Clip, everybody involved. Jared doing a tremendous job, and I appreciate the support for the show.
Hey, we'll do it again down the road. Appreciate you, Evan.
Thank you.